Hey folks, my name is Jason and I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. And today let's talk about this article. Look, I have not made it a secret that I'm a big fan of SoFi and that I hold a significant number of shares. It's well over 10,000 at this point. And I'm generally fairly positive on SoFi, not because I'm a shareholder, but because the news over the last year has largely been all positive, despite the fact that the stock price has gone down. We've seen increasing revenues, increasing earnings, and a slow and steady march towards profitability. And then this article comes out today. And I am not in favor of this move, even though on the surface it might make business sense. I think that in other ways it actually damages their brand, and I wish they just dropped this lawsuit, and here's why. So a few of the key takeaways from the article that are listed actually miss one of the more important points, but let's talk about these key takeaways. Number one, SoFi is a California-based online bank that makes a lot of its money from refinancing student loans. And the company is suing the Department of Education, saying that the pause on student loans is making it more difficult for them to compete with those 0% payment option loans, and that this suit is just the latest in a string of legal challenges to Biden's plan to relieve student debt burdens. One of the more important points that is made in this article but doesn't make it in the key takeaways is that SoFi is also arguing, hey, maybe we don't want to make all loans resume payments and interest. Maybe it's just the loans that aren't subject to this student loan forgiveness plan, right? So I still think that doesn't do them any favors, and here's why. This is a subject or an issue that is likely to be resolved by legal and political means without the input of SoFi. Yes, it has hurt SoFi's business, but SoFi doesn't have a right to refinance loans. This is something we have to fight for, and businesses are hurt all the time by changes in government regulation. And it may actually be true that the Department of Education doesn't have a legal right to do this. So this is one of the arguments that they're making here. But in the end, it actually doesn't matter. SoFi is just unnecessarily injecting themselves into what is mostly a political argument at this point. And I don't think you can inject yourself on either side without everyone walking away with a bad taste in their mouth. You know, the scenario that keeps going through my mind right here is that this becomes, general knowledge that SoFi is trying to get to end the student loan moratorium, to have people start paying interest, start making payments on their loans, just so they can refinance those loans, when SoFi's business has largely moved away from student loans at this point, and it's mostly focused on personal loans and the banking industry. But this may actually make some potential customers who might think about refinancing their student loans avoid SoFi altogether, because they're like, hey, this is the company that actually sued the government to end the moratorium. And I think that's just bad news. And there's really not a way to file a lawsuit like this and make arguments in court without being injected into that political argument, which I think is bad. I don't like that SoFi has decided to get involved in what is essentially a political argument at this point. And yes, while it may make a large difference in their bottom line, I think that this moratorium ends naturally at some point anyway, or from one of the other dozens of lawsuits that have been filed against it, and that the Department of Education would resume collecting interest payments and principal payments on loans. Anyway, folks, that is just my really short video and opinion. I don't think this does SoFi any favors in the long run, and I think it's bad for business in the long run as well, even though it may give them a short-term bump up in terms of earnings once the moratorium ends. I think there's going to be a significant number of people that decide not to do business with SoFi because they know about this lawsuit. Anyway, just my opinion. Share what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think, and I will see you next time.